dearest friends in Christ. Today is Friday within the 25th week in ordinary time, and also the 27th day of September, and the church celebrates the memorial of St. Vincent de Paul. Our reflection today will be from the first reading of today, and our biblical text will come from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. And the theme of our reflection is the value of time. The third chapter of the book of Kohelet, or the book of Ecclesiastes, deals on the subject of time. Time is one of the greatest gifts and treasures that God gave to humanity. Creating us in His own image and likeness, He endowed us with the capacity and the ability to have a sense of time. Our life and existence operate within a time frame, a time range, or a time limit. In time also, we find a sequential progression of human activities and events of life. Time is like an endless stream that flows. But the question is, what is time? To this question, St. Augustine says, I know what it is until you ask me to explain it. And it is important, my dear friends, for us to note that the wristwatch and the wall clock, these are not time in themselves. They are but artificial markers of time. But God Himself, who is the creator of time and who is not also ruled by time, already at the time of creation, also established natural markers of time. In the book of Genesis chapter 1, if you read from verse 14 through verse 19, you see where God created the heavenly bodies, namely the sun, the moon, and the stars, and empowered them to become the markers of time. They are to be the determinants of seasons as events of human life continues to unfold. What we see God doing here is to give structure and form to this free-flowing phenomenon that He created called time. This is the same thing we see the preacher doing in the first reading of today. Using the events of life and their opposites, Kohelet tells us that there is time for everything. There are moments of joy, there are moments of sorrow. There is a time to be born, there is a time to die. One important lesson for us to learn from today's readings, my dear friends, is that the greatest asset that God has given to us is time. It is in time that all of us have been all leveled together. Every human being created in the image and likeness of God has equal amount of time on daily basis. What we make out of that time is what will create the difference between human beings. Within the 24 hours that makes up a day, what do you do with your time? The preacher is telling us to learn, just like God in the book of Genesis, to structure and give form to the time that we have. Fortunately or unfortunately, time waits for no one. Anyone that is missed is missed. Anyone that goes is gone forever. But whatever we decide to make out of the time that God has given to us, that is actually what constitutes our own time for us. This is why St. Paul in his letter to the Ephesians chapter 5 verses 15, he says that we should not live like unintelligent people, but we should be able to redeem the time because the days are evil. It is quite unfortunate that in our own time we see young people especially who are in the habit of wasting their time and doing things that are not necessary. I tell you, time is of essence. Anyone that is lost can never be regained. Time becomes for us what we make out of it. Let us therefore learn to give structure to the time that God has given to us. This is also where the saint we are celebrating today comes into play. He used his own time in touching the lives of those around him. In St. Vincent de Paul, we see a reconciliation and a meeting point between spiritual needs and human needs. He cared for the spiritual lives of the people of his time and also extended love and care for their material welfare. Already in the year 1626, he established a religious order called the Society of St. Vincent de Vincentians to propagate the preaching of the gospel, to care for the spiritual needs of his people. Later on also, he aroused a sense of social consciousness among some women who were well-to-do and formed them into what was referred to as ladies of charity. These women gathered the resources together which he used in taking care of those who were sick, those who were in prison, those who were maimed, those who were lame, and those who were very, very poor. If you are a Catholic, St. Vincent de Paul is a society that every Catholic is aware of because they are experts in caring for the poor. He used his time to take care of the needs of others. Let us also, like him, learn how to make good use of the time that God has provided for us by giving structure to it, so that at the end of our existence also, we would have not wasted the time that God gave to us. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. God bless you.